Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Yesterday, we spoke about the Arabian trade routes and how those Arabian trade routes were controlled by different civilizations, especially the one up north and possibly down south. Up north, very close to the Roman Empire, there were smaller kingdoms that came and went away over the period of time. Some of them only influenced the Syrian area where current day, modern day Syria is, and some of them expanded their control all the way to Iraq, which is the northeastern end of Arabia, and Syria, which is on the northwestern end of the Arabian Peninsula. And down south, we have Yemen, which is in the southwestern end of Arabia, which is very close to the Horn of Africa. And a lot of trade was happening through Yemen and also through the Red Sea. And this trade was going to India, Malaysia, China, and also through the Silk Road. It was going to China up through the Iraq and Persian Empire. So there was this mass trade system that was going on. But that was all coming in from outside and getting transported from one end of the Arabian Peninsula to the other end of the Arabian Peninsula. And later on, at the time of Qusay, when Quraysh gathered in Mecca, and after that, at the time of Hashim, the great-grandfather of Prophet ﷺ, this trade routes were strengthened, or Quraysh strengthened their agreements on those trade routes so that they could travel safely without a problem that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions in Surah Quraysh, رَحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ وَالصَّيْفِ, that you would travel in the winter time and summertime and without any problem. And in the wintertime, the Quraysh would go down south to Yemen, and during the summertime, they will go up north to Syria. But those were not the only time Arabs tribes were trading. There were 13 plus markets in Arabia that I want to talk about today, which were within the Arabian Peninsula at different places. Sometimes they will be shifting as south as close to Yemen, or even in Hadramaut areas, or going up north to as far as Syria and modern day Iraq is, and also roaming around in different parts of Arabia. What was the reason behind it? So to bring the commodities that are being bought in Syria or Iraq or in Yemen through the different ports that could be distributed to all over Arabia, to all the tribes, because not all tribes had caravans or were in the business or were close to the trade routes. So that's why this was a way of the Arabians to be able to not only do business, but distribute these things within. So on this route, that was going from Syria to Yemen or Yemen to Syria, Quraysh positioned themselves right in the center so that they were one of those tribes that would be very much involved in taking the commodities and goods from south to north and north to south. Now we need to start looking into what were those traveling bazaars or markets. And that's what let's look at next with the help of the map. Like yesterday, I showed you the map of pre-Islamic trade routes going as far as 1000 BC or so and coming very close to the Islamic era. And now let's look at another set of maps so that you also understand where these movements were happening. So in the age of Jahiliyyah, or in the pre-Islamic era, we had several different markets that would take place within Arabia, as I told you. One of them would take place in Dawmatul Jandal, which is up north, very close to Syria, near Jawf, and this is the northern Arabian Peninsula. This market would be operational between 1st to 15th Rabi' al-Awwal, so which is the current Islamic month right now as well. So in the first 15 days of Rabi' al-Awwal, this market will take place. And clients from Iraq, Syria, and Arabian Peninsula will come and do trade in this market. It was a commercial market, and it was extremely beneficial for the local businessmen. Another trade market which would take place, but in Rabi' al-Thani, the next month, but that would be in Bahrain. That is on the other side of Arabia. So this would take place by the name of Hajar. And in this market in particular, people will be trading dates, dry goods, musk, and things of that nature. So this was mainly a trading market for the neighboring provinces, maybe from Persia, maybe from Arab Bedouins, and things of that nature. Then in Bahrain, in Jamad al-Awwal or Jamad al-Ula, there would be another market called Al-Mushaqqar. This was a general market in which they would take, general commodities and would sell it. However, this market was not very safe place. But even though, besides that, Arabs and some non-Arabs, particularly Persians, would come and do trade over here. Then if you come down south, on the southeast side, which is where the Oman is, there would be, and then if you keep traveling a little bit closer to the Yemen, somewhere around that region, there would be another market by the name of Oman was a market, and this would be Jamad al-Thani the next month. And this would usually take place from the 15th of the Jamad al-Thani all the way to the end of Ramadan. It was a very, very, long duration market. And in this market, they would be trading metals, fruits, and things of that nature. And the reason this market was going on for this long, because it had wide variety of people coming in at different times, including Arabs. Especially, it has a lot of Yemeni influence from the tribe Azd. They would be a very frequent visitor of this market. Then we have another one in Tihama, in Bariq, Tihaba, and this is called the Hubasha market. And this would start in early Rajab. And this would be another market where Yemenis would come, people from Tihama, people from Hijaz. This would a market where different kind of commodities would be shared. Then in the month of Rajab, by the Oman coast, there would be a market called Suhar by the Oman coast. And this was more or less like a commercial market. And again, different kind of commodities would be sold here. Then there is a market that would be at the end of the Rajab to the 10th of Sha'ban. It's called the Dibba. And this was a mixed market in which Arab products were sold by bargaining. And this is the market where clients from India, clients from Sindh and Hind, both locations, would come. Chinese would sometime also be arriving here in this market. This is more or less by the Arabian Gulf, this market would take place. And Arabs, of course, would also participate in this one. And some markets like Hubasha and Suhar, different kinds of people will be coming. And it would be hard to identify and pinpoint who exactly is coming. Similarly, the Yemeni seacoast market, which was called Oman, that was also, it's very difficult to pinpoint who exactly are the clienteles here. But also, in the month of Sha'ban, mid-Sha'ban, there was a market which was called Ash-Shahra or Shahr Mahra. This was in the southern coast between Aden and Oman. So between the Yemen and Oman, this market would take place, and it was most like a coastal market, and mostly things like camels and dairy products and clothes, ropes, hides. Those kind of stuff will be sold in this market, and merchants from all over will come and do trade here. Similarly, there was a market in Aden, which is in Yemen. So in the first 10 days of Ramadan, this market of Aden will take place in the south of Bab al-Mandib, and this is where perfumes and pearls, these kind of commodities will be sold. And again, this market was accessible to Arabs, Persians, Romans. Remember, Persians had influence in Yemen after it became a Persian province, so they also had access to this market. And also there's a market in Sana'a, which was the Yemeni capital. And this market will take place after the market of Aden, between the 15th and 30th of Ramadan. And this is where they would trade cotton, saffron, different kind of dyes, and some and things of that nature. And this market was not only accessible to Arabs and Persian merchants, but also people from across the sea, from Africa. Ethiopian merchants and Ethiopian people would also be visiting this market. And then there was a market in Hadramaut, which is between Oman and Yemen, and this is in the land area. And this market would be in the month of Zulqa'dah. Right, it's the 11th Islamic month, Zulqa'dah, and from the mid Zulqa'dah till the end of Zulqa'dah. And this was a very, very small market, though. And then we have the market of Ukaz. Ukaz market was in the month of Zulqa'dah, from the 1st to the 20th, while the market of Hadramaut was going on. That was for the Yemenis. This market of Ukaz was mainly in the Hijaz, and it was near the lands of Ta'if, and it was on the land of Banu Hawazin. Banu Hawazin, Prophet ﷺ had a major battle with Banu Hawazin and the people of Ta'if that you might have heard about or learn about or read about in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. And you might have heard about this special market called Ukaz because Quraysh used to frequently visit this market, and this is also known as the Arab market, which contributed to the standardization of Arabic dialects. A lot of the poets would be coming over here and reciting their poetry. It was close to the Hajj season, so people who are arriving early could also benefit from that. And it had several kinds of people coming in all over from the Arabian Peninsula. And then there is another market that you might have read about called Majannah. This was in the lands of Banu Kinana in the Tihama region, and that was also near Mecca. And this would run right after the Ukaz market will end. This Majannah market will start from the 20th to the 30th of Zulqa'dah. It was smaller than Ukaz, and but it would be again similar kind of people will be coming. Now it would also include a lot of pilgrims who are coming for Hajj. And then there is a market that would take place during the Hajj season. In fact, I would say right before the Hajj will start. So there was a market near Arafah called Dhu Majaz, and this market will be from 1st to the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. So right before the Hajj starts, and this will be again a general market. And Arab merchants and pilgrims would be coming here. And then there was a market in the north of Medina, Natat Khaybar. So after the pilgrims are done with the pilgrimage and they're traveling up north, then they would go and visit this market. And it was a more or less like a commercial market, and mostly Jewish clients would shop around here because Khaybar was was a lot of Jewish tribes were settled there. And then in Hajar al-Yamama, which is in modern day Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in the month of Muharram, from the 10th till the 30th of Muharram, there would be another market that would mainly Arabs would be visiting this market. Similarly, you have a market near Bosra. This is not Basra. Basra is in Iraq. Basra came into existence way later. This is Bosra, which is in Syria, very close to Syrian southern borders. This bazaar was called Deir Ayyub. So once the pilgrims are done, pilgrimage is over, so these pilgrims are traveling north and going to the Syria, then they would probably stop over here. And this market was Roman controlled. Again, a commercial market and meeting place for Arabs and Roman merchants. And then there was another market, because this was north of Bosra. In the southern Levant, there was a Bosra market, which was after the pilgrim season is over, within the 30 to 40 days, between the month of Muharram and Rabi'ul Awwal, this market will be taking place. Another very, very commercialized market. And very similarly, in the north of Kufa, we had a market of Al-Hira market, which was mainly Arabs and Persian traders, and also some other markets similar to Ukaz. Al-Mirbad was another market in the outskirt of what is now Basra, and Arab traders would come in and other people. So these are some of the markets where people would come in and do trades.